If you ask me, what we are actually watching between June 8th and June 26th is a master class in psychological warfare. It is a brutal chess match where the pieces are human lives and the board is soaked in decades of unresolved trauma. Let us start by looking at the absolute toxicity radiating from Michael right now. He is entering the final, most dangerous phase of his master plan. He is actively, methodically trying to push Willow and Chase into a full-blown affair. Think about the sheer, unadulterated arrogance required to play God with your own marriage. Michael is not just reacting to unfortunate circumstances. He is engineering a devastating betrayal from the ground up. He wants to be the victim. He wants the moral high ground so desperately that he is willing to destroy the mother of his children to get it. It is a chilling display of control, masked as passive observation. The psychology here is deeply disturbing. He is setting a trap for his own wife, watching her every move, waiting for her to stumble into the emotional snare he has laid out. And the catalyst for this entire explosion rests squarely on the fragile shoulders of Brooke Lynn. She is suffocating under the crushing weight of her secret. The guilt of being the other driver in that horrific crash is eating her alive from the inside out. We are going to see her prepare to issue a massive, life-altering apology. If the absolute truth about her involvement in the crash finally spills out into the open, it will detonate a bomb directly in the middle of Chase's life. The fallout will be catastrophic. Chase will be emotionally shattered, entirely vulnerable, and desperately seeking comfort. And Willow will be right there to catch him. It is a perfect storm of grief and proximity. Michael knows this. He is counting on it. Speaking of Chase, the man is gearing up to make a major high-profile arrest. Now, the immediate assumption from the audience is that he slaps the cuffs on Brooke Lynn once her vehicular secret inevitably spills. But let us look a little deeper at the board. We have Jens running around the city, expanding his sinister footprint, thinking he is 10 steps ahead of every single person in town. But Lucas is quietly, methodically setting a trap. Lucas is weaponizing his own vulnerability to pull Jens into a dark corner. If Jens steps blindly into that snare, Chase might just be the one to kick down the door and read him his rights. Two birds. One stone. Meanwhile, we have a fascinating juxtaposition of new beginnings and sudden paralyzing doubts. Ethan is suddenly pumping the brakes on his adoption plans regarding little Phoebe. He is looking at the stark reality of fatherhood, the absolute permanence of it, and he is terrified. It is a very raw, profoundly human reaction to a life-altering commitment. Are we really surprised that a man with his history is suddenly terrified of holding the future in his hands? On the lighter side of the spectrum, Molly is kicking off her highly anticipated book tour. But even this joyous occasion is laced with a beautiful, comedic irony. She brings Cody along for the ride, and Cody accidentally steals the entire spotlight. The fans realize he is the real-life inspiration for her novel's romantic lead. It is charming. It is funny. But it also highlights how art imitates life and how our deepest, unspoken desires often bleed into the stories we choose to tell the world. Then we have the baby shower from hell. Portia should be absolutely glowing. She is nearing her due date, preparing to bring a new life into the world. This should be a moment of pure, unadulterated joy surrounded by friends. Instead, it is a battlefield. Jordan shows up, and the tension in the room is so thick, you could cut it with a surgical scalpel. They clash in a massive, fiery confrontation right in the middle of the celebration. This is not just about a ruined party. It is about primal, territorial instincts. It is about years of unresolved romantic history boiling over at the worst possible second. The stress is astronomical. Portia is heavily pregnant, teetering on the very edge of active labor. And poor Curtis is caught directly in the crossfire of this emotional shrapnel. He is already paralyzed by the looming threat of his own trial. He is desperately hoping to secure Alexis to represent him, knowing his entire freedom hangs in the balance. If Portia goes into premature labor because of this ridiculous shower drama, the stakes for Curtis avoiding a prison sentence skyrocket into the stratosphere. He cannot be sitting behind cold iron bars when his child takes its first breath. The pressure is actively crushing him, pushing him to the absolute brink of his sanity. How much more can one man take before he completely breaks? Amidst all this suffocating darkness, we get one fleeting, beautiful ray of light. Christina is packing her bags. She is finally leaving to attend medical school. The farewell scenes are going to absolutely gut you in the best way possible. It is a rare moment of genuine, unconditional love as her family gathers to send her off into a brighter future. But even this tearful goodbye feels incredibly heavy. This city is a black hole. It has a terrifying way of pulling you back in just when you think you have finally escaped its gravity. We can only hope she makes it out. Now, let us talk about the mother of all rescue missions. Carly finally has the horrifying confirmation that Jocelyn was kidnapped. Do you honestly think Carly is going to sit around and wait for permission to save her own flesh and blood? Valentine tries to warn her off. He tells her to wait, to plan, to be strategic. Valentine thinks like a cold, calculating spy. Carly thinks like a desperate, terrified mother. She ignores him completely. She weaponizes a casual visit to Lucas at the massive, sprawling estate to get her foot in the door. She is a woman on fire, driven by a primal need to protect her cub. And then the moment of absolute cinematic perfection happens. She finds it. The ring. The very ring Jocelyn intentionally dropped on the cold stone floor as a desperate breadcrumb. That tiny piece of metal is going to ignite a raging inferno in Carly that will burn down the entire estate if necessary. You do not back a desperate mother into a corner. The realization that she is standing mere feet away from where her daughter is being held captive will push Carly into a state of hyper-focused ruthlessness. She will tear down the walls with her bare hands. Inside those damp, suffocating stone walls, the psychological horror is reaching its absolute peak. Jocelyn finds herself locked in a room with the last person she ever expected to see, Liesl. The two of them forming an alliance in the dark is the very definition of desperate times calling for desperate measures. They are two fierce, historically unbreakable women, and they are going to need every single ounce of that fire to survive. Because Liesl is currently living a waking nightmare that defies all logic and sanity. She is trapped in a psychological hellscape. Liesl is forced to look at a face she loves more than life itself, only to realize it belongs to a monster. Cassius is actively posing as Nathan. Let that horrific reality sink in for a moment. The psychological torture of seeing Nathan's face, hearing his voice, but knowing deep down that it is the twin brother who represents everything evil in her world. It is sickening. It is brilliant, twisted television. Furthermore, Cassius is actively spinning a web of lies to Nina, trying to cover up the fact that Liesl is missing. The deception is layered, toxic, and incredibly dangerous. Liesl is trapped with a ghost wearing her dead son's face. But the torture does not stop at mere visual cruelty. Liesl is being violently strong-armed into completing the highly illegal cold fusion project. She refuses at first, naturally. She has principles, and she knows the devastating power of what they are building. But then, her captors play their absolute trump card. They threaten James. They put a massive, glowing target on the back of an innocent child. The moment James's safety is compromised, Liesl's moral principles evaporate into thin air. She will build them a bomb. She will build them an empire. She will do absolutely anything if it means keeping that little boy safe. What makes this extortion even more gut-wrenching is that she is being forced to finish the exact work started by Britt. The emotional toll of touching Britt's research notes, of being manipulated through the memory of one child and the literal life of another, is staggering. Liesel is a woman who has survived the unimaginable, but this specific brand of emotional extortion is designed to break her mind completely. She is working against the clock, fighting her own grief, while trying to outsmart men who hold all the cards. And speaking of Britt, the ghost of her legacy is very much alive and on the move. Sonny put Brick on the scent weeks ago. He looked Brick in the eye and told him to find Britt and Rocco. And Brick never ever fails a mission. As we head into the final explosive week of June, Brick is finally ready to deliver his highly anticipated report. He has the clues. He has the coordinates. He knows exactly where they are hiding. This revelation changes absolutely everything on the board. If Sonny can successfully extract Britt and Rocco from hiding, it shifts the entire balance of power in the city. It opens up a completely new violent front in the escalating war against gens. Sonny will not hesitate to unleash hell to protect his own. The pieces are moving into position for a showdown that will leave lasting scars on everyone involved. Will Carly reach Jocelyn before Cassius enacts his final twisted plan? Will Michael's toxic manipulation finally destroy the lives he claims to care about? And when the dust settles, who will be left standing in the ruins of these explosive secrets? We will just have to watch the madness unfold. Let me know your theories down below.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.